Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
You called me a liar. Greta Van Susteren rains hell on Gretchen Carlson for what she did. Former Fox News hosts Greta Van Susteren and Gretchen Carlson got into a public fight recently that showed just how deep feelings have been running about alleged sexual harassment and assault. Things kicked off when ABC News put out a fake news story about Michael Flynn speaking with Russian officials before Election Day. ABC put out a clarification, but Greta called them out, tweeting, "What makes it worse is that ABC won't admit its error and now tries to sugarcoat it with now calling their correction just a clarification dash," and other news organizations of course repeated ABC original story. Bizarrely, Van Susteren's former colleague Gretchen Carlson decided to make this unrelated story all about her, tweeting back, "True, but what about when you called me a liar 24 hours after my story broke? You knew no #facts. You were someone I had always admired and heralded every time you came on my show. And you are a lawyer, which made it outrageous." Carlson apparently has some bad blood with Van Susteren after Greta said about Gretchen in July 2016, "Of course, the first thing that occurred to me is that, unfortunately, we have a disgruntled employee, a colleague. I read that her show wasn't being renewed and, being a lawyer, I thought she got angry." Greta later qualified her remarks, saying, "I did not defend Roger Riles nor did I condemn him. I just stated what I knew or did not know. Period. As an aside, of course if I had known of any sexual harassment, I would not keep quiet as I would not want other people hurt by my silence. Who do you believe, Greta or Gretchen?" Bristol Palin just listed the names of celebrities who sexually harassed her and Sarah. Bristol Palin has been watching the sexual assault and harassment scandals about numerous entertainers and other media figures unfold, and decided that it was time to break her silence about the people who have sexually harassed her and her mother Sarah. In a blog post, Bristol asked, "Are you ready to hold these people accountable? Here is a small example of what our family has gone through." Her first example was anti-Trump Fox News host Chris Wallace. Don Imus asked Wallace in 2010 right before he was going to interview Sarah Palin, "When you interview her, will she be sitting on your lap?" Replied Chris, "One can only hope." Commented Bristol, "Did Wallace receive any consequences for this kind of sexual harassment? None. No one at Fox Radio batted an eye with his violent misogynist rant. In fact, he is still celebrated." Bristol then described how David Letterman made a joke in 2009 about one of Sarah Palin's daughters getting knocked up by Alex Rodriguez at a New York Yankees game. She then brought up rapper Rosalia Banks, who in 2016 tweeted, "Sarah Palin needs to have her hair shaved off to a buzz cut, get ed by a big veiny, ashy, black D, then be locked in a cupboard." The rapper added, "Honestly. Let's find the burliest blackest 10s and let them run a train on her. Film it and put it on WorldStar." Bristol also brought up how in 2011 current CNN host Alison Camerota asked Sarah about her breasts in an interview. Said Bristol, "Harassing lines of questioning like that is to sexualize the female guest, thus discrediting the important issues she's there to discuss. Gee, I wonder why voters have a hard time taking female politicians seriously when a news organization is more interested in the size of their bra than their brain? Are you glad Bristol spoke out?" Top FBI official rips Comey for using Bible verse to shame Trump, "He's the emperor with no clothes." Former FBI Director James Comey is one of the few people in the United States that Republicans and Democrats hate equally. Conservatives blame Comey for letting Hillary Clinton off the hook for Benghazi and her email crimes, and liberals claim that Comey helped throw the 2016 vote to Trump by publicly reopening the Clinton investigation just days before Election Day. Regardless what side you are on, pretty much everyone can agree that Comey is the last person who should be using Bible verses to shame anyone. Nonetheless, after word got out that Michael Flynn pleaded guilty, Comey posted on his social media, "But let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream." Amos 5:24. Former FBI Assistant Director James Kallstrom, however, saw right through what Comey tried to accomplish with this Bible verse and called him out for it. Said Kallstrom about Comey's post, "Anyone with a brain knows what he meant. He thinks he was unjustly brought down, and now justice is going to prevail and show him as some sort of a martyr. Nothing could be further from the truth." He went on, "He's a guy who either knows the Bible or thought it would be cool to give that response back, when he is the emperor with no clothes. He carried water for the Clinton Foundation and Obama administration, and demoralized the FBI, making a fool of himself. In my view, he conducted himself in a way that was not in keeping with the rule of law, and here he is quoting the Bible." Kallstrom concluded about Comey, "Hopefully, justice will roll down on him and his sycophants who threw the Bureau under the bus. He just showed himself as the hypocrite that he is. He lacks the common sense to realize he's digging his hole deeper." Do you agree with this former FBI official about Comey? CNN accuses Trump of being too stupid to collude with Russia. For a long time the media has been arguing that President Trump colluded with Russia, with very little evidence. However, CNN's Mary Catherine Ham says that Trump's campaign was too reckless, arrogant, and undisciplined to have successfully colluded with Russia. She can name-call all she wants, but Trump is a lot more successful than she is. Not every single discussion with a foreign entity or person is illegal on its face, that can be routine in transitions. But the thing I've always thought about this White House is even if there is no there, at the collusion part of this, she started. I remain unconvinced that they were sly enough to cover up a giant criminal global collusion with the Russians because they are reckless, arrogant and undisciplined. And this is what has taken Flynn down. He was reckless and undisciplined and dishonest, said Ham. And that I think is going to be the pattern over and over again, because they are going to trip themselves up. Even if they are not being nefarious, they are going to mess up over and over again, and that's going to get them deeper into this, she said. How much more ridiculous can CNN possibly get? Chinese president exposes shocking thing Obama just told him in meeting during Asia tour. Just weeks after President Trump finished his speaking tour in Asia, Obama decided to have one of his own. Obama spoke with several leaders that Trump had just finished speaking with, including Chinese President Xi Jinping. The media in China and America wrote of the Trump Obama, who championed a pivot to Asia policy that Beijing viewed as a bid to contain its ambitions and critics say was largely a failure, said China had made impressive achievements. Relations between Obama and Xi were outwardly positive, but were underscored by tensions over Washington's concerns about human rights in China and the South China Sea disputes, writes the South China Morning Post. In China's state-run Xinhua news service, Xi gave Obama a briefing on the Communist Party Congress. And Xi stressed that China and the United States have an important responsibility to safeguard world peace and stability, as well as boost global development and prosperity, they wrote. On the meeting itself, Xinhua said that Obama thanked Xi for meeting with him and appreciated China's development achievements. Bloomberg Politics writes that Obama told Xi that he was willing to play a continued role in strengthening mutual understanding, exchange and cooperation between the two nations. Do you think that Obama needs to stop pretending he is still the president? Hillary Clinton calls Matt Lauers firing karma for being mean to her in 2016 election. NBC fired Matt Lauer for sexually harassing a number of women. But according to Hillary Clinton, it was all karma for treating her meanly during the 2016 election. "Every day I believe more in karma," said Hillary. "The only way we will get sexism out of politics is to get more women in politics," she continued. Hillary had talked about Lauer in her book What Happened. "I was ticked off. NBC knew exactly what it was doing here. The network was treating this like an episode of The Apprentice, in which Trump stars and ratings soar. Lauer turned what should have been a serious discussion into a pointless ambush. What a waste of time," wrote Hillary. If only the victims of Matt Lauer's sexual harassment could understand that his firing was all about Hillary Clinton. Dear colleagues, on Monday night we received a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace by Matt Lauer. It represented, after serious review, a clear violation of our company's standards. As a result, we've decided to terminate his employment, wrote NBC in a statement. While it is the first complaint about his behavior in the over 20 years he's been here at NBC News, we were also presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident. Our highest priority is to create a workplace environment where everyone feels safe and protected, and to ensure that any actions that run counter to our core values are met with consequences, no matter who the offender, wrote NBC. The director of Doctor Strange just said American Christians are racist and greedy. Hollywood box office grosses have been slumping for several years now, and yet liberal movie executives, stars and directors still feel like they have the right to openly bash the 150 million Americans who do not agree with their political views. One recent disgusting example of this came when liberal director Scott Derrickson, who has made hits like Doctor Strange and The Exorcism of Emily Rose, decided to publicly declare that Christians in America are racist, greedy and worst. Posted Scott on his Twitter account, "Christians put Trump into office, because mainstream American Christianity is racist, greedy, and nationalistic, things Christ was vehemently against. So don't ever call me an evangelical. In fact, don't even call me Christian unless you know what I mean by that." His post angered many American Christians of all political stripes. One helpfully reminded this liberal that Christians give more to charity than any other group in America. To this, biblical non-expert Derrickson decided to reply with a quote from Scripture, writing, "So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by others, Jesus Christ." Matthew 6:4. One other Twitter user, however, completely destroyed Derrickson's dumb arguments about Trump and Christians by tweeting in response, "Trump ain't a Clinton. That's why we voted for him. Period. Get off your high horse, pal. Do you think this liberal movie director needs to shut up about things he knows nothing about?"